As Iran engages in talks with the United States and Pakistan, is Tehran quietly preparing its next strategic move behind the scenes? Could Iran's closest ally now be ready to supply advanced MANPADS if any potential peace deal begins to unravel? Is a major global power, seen as a rival to Washington and a partner to Tehran, preparing to arm Iran for the next phase of conflict? A new report now appears to reveal Iran's broader strategy, even as diplomatic engagements formally begin in Islamabad. As high-stakes diplomatic talks between the United States and Iran begin in Islamabad, China appears to be advancing its own strategic approach. U.S. intelligence assessments suggest that China may be preparing to supply Iran with advanced defensive capabilities. A report by CNN, citing intelligence sources, indicated that Beijing could deliver air defense systems to Iran in the near term. The report further claimed that China may be transferring shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missile systems as part of the support. These portable air defense systems have previously been considered a potential risk to U.S. aircraft operating in contested environments. According to reports, any such transfers could be routed through intermediary countries to conceal their origin. However, China has rejected these allegations and denied any involvement in supplying military equipment to Iran. In its response to CNN, Beijing described the claims as unfounded and lacking credible evidence. A spokesperson for Beijing's embassy in Washington said, and I quote, "China has never provided weapons to any party to the conflict. The information in question is untrue. As a responsible major country, China consistently fulfills its international obligations. We urge the U.S. side to refrain from making baseless allegations, maliciously drawing connections, and engaging in sensationalism. We hope that relevant parties will do more to help de-escalate tensions." End quote. Despite these denials, reports indicate that the alleged delivery of Chinese-made air defense systems could occur within the coming weeks. These developments also come ahead of Donald Trump's planned visit to Beijing scheduled for May 2026. U.S. intelligence assessments further suggest that Iran may be using the ceasefire period to replenish its military capabilities through external support. As the U.S. boasts of having decimated Iran's military, a new analysis is openly questioning whether Washington ever grasped the true scale of the IRGC's missile power. On April 7th, Trump declared that the U.S. had met and exceeded all its military objectives in the Iran war and could pause bombing from a position of strength. His Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, doubled down by calling Operation Epic Fury a capital V victory that left Iran's military combat ineffective for years.
President Trump forged this moment. Iran begged for this ceasefire, and we all know it. As the President truth this morning, a big day for world peace. Iran wants it to happen. They've had enough. Operation Epic Fury was a historic and overwhelming victory on the battlefield. A capital V military victory. By any measure, Epic Fury decimated Iran's military and rendered it combat ineffective for years to come.
However, Brazil-based analyst Patricia Murrins argues that Western counts of Iran's missiles are wildly understated and ignore decades of serial production. During last year's 12-day conflict, Murrins estimated Iran's stockpile at close to 20,000 missiles, not a few thousand. Her breakdown pointed to roughly 7,000 to 8,000 ballistic missiles and 12,000 to 13,000 cruise missiles in various roles. Those figures, she says, include both active operational rounds and large numbers held in reserve across Iran's dispersed depots. Murrins notes that Iran began mass-producing Shahab-2 missiles in the early 1990s and kept those lines running for around 15 years. Shahab-3 then entered production from about 2004 to 2008, before being edged out by more modern, longer-range systems. In 2015, Tehran launched a major program to upgrade guidance systems on older missiles rather than scrap them. As a result, thousands of legacy missiles were modernized and pushed into reserve stocks instead of being retired. By roughly 2010, Iran had around a dozen different ballistic and cruise missile models in production at the same time. By 2010, Iran had about 12 missile models in active production, using multiple lines to push out different systems at the same time. Those parallel lines meant Tehran could sustain output across families of missiles rather than relying on a single flagship weapon. After 2015, between 8 and 12 missile types with ranges above 1,000 kilometers reportedly entered or stayed in active production. Long-range cruise missiles such as Sumar and Meshkat are believed to exceed 2,000 kilometers, putting distant bases and cities in reach. Solid fuel systems like Ahmad and Sejal also crossed the 2,000, allowing fast, survivable launches from deep inside Iran. Together, these standoff systems let Iran strike targets across the region without ever sending a manned jet near hostile defenses. Murrins flatly rejects Western think tank claims that Iran had only about 2,500 missiles in stockpile at the start of this war. She calls those lowball estimates illogical, given Iran's decades of mass production and multiple simultaneous assembly lines. On what she describes as a conservative calculation, Murrins argues Iran's arsenal now exceeds 17,000 missiles.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.